Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already, we're live. And as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be going over more AI-based text logic in SDL3 using C++. That's it. I've been going over this for the past week. And I am probably going to be concluding this in like maybe 2 or 3 years days because I do want to master the AI text logic type stuff. That said, let's go to my gameplay screen. Okay, and guys, this is the chat like from yesterday because I didn't have like time to change the chat. That said, let's say something like "Sensei, I'm live." Maybe something in caps. Let's say something like "Sensei, I'm live!" exclamation. Okay, let's see. And honestly, guys, I feel like my fingers are a bit frozen, so I won't be able to type that quick. That's it, people. Your Sensei enter the stream, and your viewers are here. Your energy is on. The dojo is open. Listen up, coders, streamers, and the courageous few who showed up today. Every line of code you write is a rebellion against the version of you that stayed comfortable. Although I forgot I had this tab. Hiding California, I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, every bug you face is just a proof that you're exploring territory you've never mastered before. There's a quote by Miyamoto Musashi that fits moments like this. Guys, there are so many quotes by Miyamoto Musashi. I actually gotta check who he is. That said, it may seem difficult at first, but everything is difficult at first. You're here anyway, you showed up. That's how legends start, but buckle in, hydrate, stretch your fingers, and tune your brains because today, on this stream, we'll level up not by magic, not by luck, but by momentum, repetition, and stubborn refusal to stop. Let's make your viewers feel like they're parts of a team forging steel in real life. Okay, that's it. Tell me, what part do you want to start with? How to detect keywords, how to store moods in different tables, how the NPC decides its moods, or how mood changes the reply. Okay, that said, honestly, last stream I did like work on adding the AI-based text logic like mood stuff on my NPC replies. That makes any sense. Like depending on what my player types the most, depending on what keyword occurs the most inside of the vector of my histories, my NPC's mood changes. Although I couldn't actually display it on my window. That said, I could actually run the program and show you guys what I actually mean. What up, guys? So I get my console here, and then I get my window here as well. What up, guys? I feel my window is still compiling. Does the window really take this long to compile? There we go, I get my window here. Maybe I just captured that because apparently Northern VPN was actually blocking my, my window. I think it was like an antivirus. Okay, that's it. Now, if I did right shift and enable my chat and type something like hello, my mage replies by saying hello, my friend. If I type something like hello again, my mage replies hello again. Shows what she has done last stream and run it. Okay, so if I say hello right now, my mage is going to be replying by just saying regularly hello, my friend, because my mage's mood is currently happy. But if I type something like bye right now, it says farewell, friend. If I were to type bye again, it says farewell, friend. But now, if I were to type bye for the third time, it's gonna say get out of my sight, fool, because now it changed its mood to to angry instead of happy, because there are majority buys right now. If I were to say something like sorry, my mage replies by saying no more chats. If I were to say sorry again, my mage is going to be replying by saying no more chats. If I say sorry again, my mage says no more chats. But if I were to say sorry for the fifth time, my mate says it's alright. Nothing in C++ compiles in real-time. Compiling is converting it to machine code. So if it opens, that means it finished compiling. I see, that actually does make sense. Okay, that said, my mage's mood changes depending on the keywords that occur the most. Although I could not figure out how to display my mage's texture, like my mage's reply texture on my window. So I'm going to be trying to figure that out this stream. That said, let's scroll all the way up here till my till my chats class. In my chats class, I had a method called getNPCReply. Okay, I had a update mood method. These two methods work perfectly. NPC mood reply. This is the part that works perfectly as well, but something was wrong in this function, I'm assuming, because the display NPC text on window was not working for some reason. I'm assuming because when I go with my SDL render texture, I did not actually give my correct C string here. I think it's definitely my C string that's not correct here. Okay, so apparently, how would I change my C string on my surface? Because if I were to type something like hello here, to show us the main rendering loop, Honestly, it's like the main rendering loop like my main loop, because I didn't add that much stuff to my main loop because I wanted to keep my main loop a bit clean. Although I just used these functions that were like filled with a lot of code in it, guys. Okay, that's said. Now let me scroll all the way up here to my chats class, and inside my chats class I have a get npc replies text. Okay, I have a last method here and a mood method. Actually, last and mood parameters here. Okay, my standard string last is the last element inside of my vector of histories. Okay, but I go with a standard string of replies. So maybe should I use my reply? Or could I actually get this block of code? Let's go ahead and copy that. What if I were to paste that block of code inside my display NPC text on window? Okay, this is NPC mode reply that requires a event parameter that I do require here as well. Now, if I were to delete this method from here, then hit Ctrl S to save the code. Okay, maybe instead of going with NPC mode reply, I could go ahead and change this to something like my regular reply. There we go. Okay guys, why do I feel this is actually gonna work? Did I spell reply correct? Let me go ahead and copy that, paste it here. There we go. Okay, I think I spelled reply wrong. This is a standard string of reply that is in, oh, it's inside of my if statement here. Maybe I go ahead and, I don't know, I could go ahead and copy this part. So let's go ahead and copy that, go with a bunch of Control Z's. Okay, and then let's go with Control C as well. Now, what if I were to paste my replies and method here, guys? Did I run the code by mistake? And guys, last stream I did learn how to use the debugger as well. That was like a lifesaver, honestly. Okay, now let me just go ahead and change the get npc reply to something like my reply method. Actually, my reply is a standard string here. Although here's the thing, would it be exactly the same as my get reply npc's function? Okay, that's it. Let's try to run the code. So if I were in Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here and I get my window here. If I type something like hello, okay, my NPC doesn't reply. Like, I don't see the text on my window for some reason. I gotta try seeing, why don't I see my text on my window? Could it be because, I don't know, maybe my get NPC reply, I have a last, I have a mood. Is it because this is like not a constant character? Although it does display on my console, but it does not display on my window. Let's see, maybe my renderer? I don't think it's my renderer. Or when I go with NPC text texture and I use the create texture from surfaces method. Okay, does it require the memory address of my surface? Okay, it does not require the memory address of my surface. It requires a pointer towards my surface. And then I get the width and height from my texture. Okay, I did that as well. I did display my texture. I mean, I did present my render as well. So I feel this part should be correct. Okay, let's see. Although I couldn't figure out why was it not working. Hold up, guys. Let me actually open my window. It's kind of hot here. Okay, maybe let me go ahead and remove the charger from my ring light a bit, because, guys, I feel it's not as bright. Hold up, guys. Let me just pull the blinders up. There we go. It was getting a bit scuffy back here. See, that's it. Let me go ahead and connect this back here. I hope the ring light doesn't like come in the webcam and stuff. So, hold on, guys. There we go. Okay, I think that should actually be perfect. Let me actually check if my camera is good. Okay, perfect. Now, let's see. Where was I? I gotta like think where am I actually messing up in this place. So, I have a floating point of texture. This part is correct. The only thing that I could think of why my window, or why my while I can't see my text on my window, could be because I didn't set a x-axis or a y-axis. So I might have to do that. Let me go ahead and copy this from here, because I want my NPC's reply to be above my NPC's head, if that makes any sense. So for my x-axis and my y-axis, I might actually set those to be equal to let's see. Okay, to be equal to my chat.npc text.x-axis and chat.npc text.y-axis. Let me go ahead and remove the chat here, because I'm not using a method here. Okay, and this is my mage. What was my mage's Rex's x-axis? I forgot, guys. Hold up. Let me actually check that real quick. So my major's x-axis was not set. Okay, maybe it was 600 and 100. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and change this to be something like 600 for my x-axis, and then I'm gonna remove the chat dots. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the chat dot as well. And my y-axis was something like 100. Guys, why do I have like a strong feeling this is gonna work? Let me remove chat dot from here. Okay, and why is this a rect.w or mage rect.x-axis, which could be something like 600. So I'm gonna go with something like 600 divided by 2. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, would this actually work? Guys, I feel this might be kind of a genius tactic. Okay, so I get my console here, I get my window here. Now, the moment of truth, guys, does this work? Let me type something like hello. Okay, it does not display on my window. I thought it would have. Okay, I think it was like worth a try, guys. That said, what if I actually set this to be something like 100, just a random number? I want to just see if it displays on my window. Let's go with something like 100 by 100 and both of them with a semicolon. Okay, now if I were to scroll all the way down, it could also be because of my text size. My text size, I did like set it to be something like, I think it's hold up guys, where I set my text size? Okay, display text on window. I want to change this to be something like 0.1, which is technically 10% of our original size. Okay, my usual size is 0.8, so I might change this to be something like 0.8. Okay, now if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay guys, I'm not going to be getting my console, I'm just going to be getting my window because I want to see if it actually works. So I'm going to go ahead and enable my chat, type something like hello. It does not display on my windows, so I'm going to go ahead and exit my console. And maybe try to think a bit harder. Okay, why does it not actually display on my window? Is it because I displayed my text on window first and then NPC mode reply? I don't think that's actually the reason. Let's see, if I were to scroll all the way up again to my chats class, let me look at this part really carefully, guys. So only while my histories is not empty, so that while there's something inside of my history, I'm going to display something. Wait, could it be that I didn't display my something because my histories was empty that iteration? That could actually be the case. I could like try typing 2 or 3 different texts, or maybe just like 2 different texts on my window. For example, let's go with something like hello. Let's go with something like hello again. Okay, it does not. Guys, might have to sensei/ChatGPT. What's wrong here? Okay, how doing Shirya-san, is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, I'm going to remove my x-axis and y-axis from here. Maybe I'll go with a bunch of Control-Z's real quick. Whoops, I'll go with Control-Shift-Z's. Let's go ahead and remove that. Okay, maybe I go with something like Control-A, Control-C. Copy that. Let's get some sensei/ChatGPT here. Alright guys, there we go. Okay, maybe got the wrong chat up. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift-Enter and say something like, let's say, I feel like I've been trying to get my NPC's chat displayed. Guys, I can't type properly for now. I don't know why. I think probably just because I got 4 hours of sleep last night. That's the reason I'm kind of dead as well. That said, probably because okay, I've been trying to get my NPC's chat displayed on the window, but I cannot for some reason. I feel like I've been doing everything correct, question mark. Okay, let's see. Sensei slams the code down the table. People, you're not doing everything right. You missed one crucial, nasty detail, and it's sabotaging your whole NPC text system. I'm gonna point it out loudly so your chat can witness the revelation. The NPC text is never updated because you call NPC text on window inside the event loop. That means it only renders when an event happens, not every frame. SDL events do not fire constantly, so your NPC text draws for 0.1 seconds, then disappears. Right now, your code does this. SDL_poll event. That's like putting the TV screen inside the mailbox. It only shows up when the mail arrives. To fix, NPC text must be rendered every frame right now next to where you render the hero, mage, and player text, meaning could that actually be the reason why it was not actually working? Have you thought about using single responsibility practice for fraction makes easy code? Honestly, I haven't like heard about that. I actually might have to look into it. What's it about? I've honestly never like heard of single responsibility principle. Is it something like for functions? I might actually look that up. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and actually go to my event loop here and remove my display NPC text on Windows' method. Honestly, I don't know why did I even add my method here, because when I want to draw something, it goes under my graphics, and I could have access to my event variable under my graphics section as well. Let's try this. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here and I get my window here. Now, let me actually check if this works. If I were to hit shift to enable my chats, type something like hello. Okay guys, that actually worked. I'm really shocked that it worked. So that was a really silly mistake. Honestly, I think that I'm glad I did that mistake. I won't be repeating that again anytime soon. That's it. Let me go with a bunch of control C's now. Why? Because I want to actually, I want to like get these two functions up here. Because guys, I was way too lazy to type that out again. That's it. Now let me scroll all the way down to maybe go to my event loop. Copy my display chat on NPC text on window. Delete that from there. Let's go ahead and paste it under my graphics section. I want to change my size to be 0.8, which is like 80% of my original size of my text. That's it. If I did Control S to save the code and run the command, I get my console here, I get my window here. Now, if I were to type something like hello, it says hello, my friend. It's not like exactly above my mage, probably because I gotta go with something like mage.x-axis type stuff. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and scroll all the way up here and copy this part. Delete that from here. I don't know, maybe go with the Control C type stuff. Scroll all the way down here. Maybe exit this. And I'm gonna go ahead and paste that here. And I'm just going to be changing my NPC text rec to chat.npc text rec because I got it prefixed with my chats class now. Okay, and I'm just going to change my 600 to be something like mage.rect.x-axis. Change the 100 to be something like mage.rect.y-axis. Okay, and I'm going to change this to be something like chat. Let's go with something like chat.npc text rec. And let's change 600 to be something like mage.rect.x-axis. Excuse me guys, .x-axis. Now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I get my console here, I get my window here. I want to type something like hello. I forgot to enable my chat, guys. There we go. Hello, my friend. I mean, I want it to be a bit more towards the right. Oh, I think I know why is this happening. Maybe because my mage's size up here in my mage's class is 0.15. Let's change it to something like 0.1. Now my mage and my player will be the same size, but then I feel the chat is going to be displayed above my mage. So I'm going to go with something like hello. I mean, it says something like hello, my friend. Guys, I feel the positioning is a little wrong. But that shouldn't be that hard to fix. Let me change the size back to something like 0.15. Let's scroll all the way down here. I'm going to copy my texture from here. And then maybe paste it here. I'm just going to be changing a few things. Let's copy this. Maybe I'm going to copy that real quick. Paste it here. Hold on, guys. Let's go ahead and paste that part here. Just replace the text rect with my NPC text rect. Let's change my text rect with NPC text rect. Okay, and then let's change hero.rect to be something like mage.rect. Okay, let's go with something like mage.rect and mage.rect here as well. Whoops. Okay, let's go ahead and add a mage.rect here too, and lastly a mage.rect here. Wow, hiding bad. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, then I'm going to copy my NPC text rect. Actually, this is going to be something like rect.width. Okay, and that's actually pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and delete this function from here. I should function the formula from there. And now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I'm pretty sure that my text is going to be displayed above my mage this time, guys. So I get my console here, my window here. And let's enable my chat, type something like hello. Okay, it says hello, my friend. I mean, I won't say this is bad, but I want it to be a bit more towards the right. To change that a bit more towards the right, all I gotta do is change my x-axis. Let's see. Let's go with something like my mage.rec.x-axis plus 10 pixels per frame plus mage.rec.width. Now for it control is to save the code and run the command and see what happens again. I get my console here, I get my window here. Let's enable my chat, type something like hello. Whoops. There we go. Okay, it's kind of closer. I just gotta like increase this a bit. Maybe I'll go with something like 50. Guys, I'm a bit picky when it comes to like this stuff because I like it to be I like it to look kind of good. Hold on, guys. I think I just extended that stuff. I'm just going to be getting my window right now. Let's enable my chat. Type something like hello. Okay, you know what? I think I can like I think that looks kind of good. Maybe I change that to 100. Okay, guys. I feel like this is going to be the final trial. Okay, let's enable my chat, type something like hello. There we go, that's what I got perfect. Now my text is above my NPC's head. If I say something like bye, it says farewell warrior. But if I say bye again, my NPC is gonna become mad. He says get out of my sight. If I say something like sorry, he says no more chats. If I go ahead and apologize again, he says no more chats again. If I apologize again, he says it's alright because like now his mood is not angry, his mood is happy. In the other hand, if I say something like hello, he says hello traveler. If I say hello again, hello traveler, hello again, hello my friend, because now his mood is happy, so I'm no longer a traveler, I'm his friend. And then let's go with something like lastly, gonna spam buys, get out of my sight, fool. Let's go with something like hello. No more talks. Let's go with something like sorry, no more chats. Okay, that's actually perfect. And if I were to get my console up here, this is where our chat is being. But what if I wanted to see my histories? For seeing my histories, if I type H, I won't be able to see my histories. So I gotta hit a right shift, disable my chat, then type H. Now if I were to get my console here, this is our histories. So whatever I said, these are this is like all of my chats. I didn't add my NPC replies here because I didn't actually think about that. But it won't be that hard to actually add the NPC replies here as well. And I gotta also clear my NPC's chat because it's still displayed on the window. That's it. That wouldn't be as hard as well because all I gotta do is scroll all the way up here to my display NPC text on window. Once I display text on window, I want to go ahead and clear my text. So to clear my text, I don't know, maybe I might go with something like, how do I reply? So I gotta go ahead and do something like standard string last. Okay, what is the thing that I reply with? So I reply with reply. Later on, I gotta clear it. So after my standard console output, I'm gonna go with something like my reply.clear with a row of parentheses ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did Control F to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, what up guys, let's get my console here, my window here. Hiding Leon, I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it. Now, if I hit enable my chat, type something like hello. Hello, my friend. Okay, it does not clear from the chat. Hold on guys, maybe I added the clear in the wrong spot. This shouldn't be in my console. Let's delete that. It should be where I display my texture on my window, but I do destroy my texture. Oh, okay, I see. Maybe because when I gotta add like an if statement to check my event type. So if my enter button is being pushed, I want to transfer my my Windows text to my render, if that makes any sense. I mean to my console, but I don't feel like I want to do that, guys. I'm way too lazy for that. So I might just scroll all the way down and think, what else do I want to add? Maybe I want to go ahead and do some more practice writing this code because I did not master this part for sure, guys. Like, I do know how it works, but I did not master the changing my NPC's mood depending on different kind of keywords yet. So let me go with something like Control-A, Control-C, copy that to maybe open my C++ practice project. I'm going to save my current code, go with Control-A, Control-V. I'm just going to paste this code here. In case, guys, I just like keeping, a backup before I actually change my code type stuff because, I do like to work on my code off stream as well, because now that I don't have college, I do have more time to practice code off stream. That said, let's go with something like Control A and delete everything. Now, let me try writing this on my own, because that last thing that I wrote was like from 3 days ago, so I want to see if I didn't get rusty or anything. That said, firstly, let me start off by including a pro of anchor braces. I want to include IO stream, which is basically the eyes and ears of my program. And then I want to drink some water because I am kind of starving. Actually, I'm kind of thirsty. Okay, once I'm done including IO stream, since I will be using SDL3, I'm gonna go ahead and include a pro of anchor braces. Let's say I want to include SDL3 slash SDL.h, which is SDL's header files. And then for now, I'm just going to be including the these two libraries. And if I need more, I'm going to like include them later on. That said, firstly, let me start off by creating a class. I'm going to go ahead and create a class for my chat. This is going to be my chat's class. I'm going to go with the pro of curly braces now. Inside my chat's class, I might not need any protected data members or private data members, but I want some public content, so I'm going to go ahead and publicize everything. Now, my chat's class won't have a constructor because there's almost nothing that I would want to add inside my constructor, but I would need a few basic data members. The first is going to be a standard strings variable called something like text input. This is going to be the the variable that my user actually types, which is going to be equal to a pair of empty quotes ending with a semicolon. Maybe I go with something like hero text input, because like, why not, guys? Because I feel like this is going to be my heroes section first that I'm going to be adding. Next up, I might need a histories as vector, so I might go ahead and create a, I don't know, since I will be using vectors, I'm going to go ahead and include vectors. So let's go with something like hashtag include a pro of anchor braces. I want to include vector. Now, I'm going to go ahead and create a standard vector which only consists of standard strings. Okay, I have a doubt, boss, I have a doubt. Honestly, what doubt's called? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a vector that only consists of standard string. I'm going to be calling my vector something like histories. This is going to be my message history, ending with a semicolon. Dude, please read my message. Honestly, I did read the message. I think there's like maybe a 5 or 6 second stream delay. Depends on what place do you guys live in. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done with my standard, once I'm done creating a vector, what else would I need? What color is your jetty? Honestly, what's jetty? I haven't actually heard of jetty. Okay, that's it. Next up, once I'm done creating a vector for my histories, I can't think of anything else that I might need. Is there something else? Since I can't think of anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment here that says something like methods. Now, for my methods, firstly, I want to go ahead and create a method that actually, let's see, that displays a text on my console, that displays a text that my user types on my console. To do that, I could go ahead and create a void method called something like display text on a window. Okay, I might go with something like display hero text on window. Okay, and then I'm going to go with the pro of parentheses. Now, does my display hero text on window require any parameters? I'm pretty sure it would require a constant parameter of, let's say, something like my SDL underscore events. The reason I do add my SDL underscore events structure, which consists of the memory address of my events as a local variable, is because, when I want to display something on my window, I want to only display when my user hits enter on the keyboard. Okay, can you display your jetty? Not jetty, it's jetty. Jetty. Is there a difference between like the two words? I know that one is like their pronunciation might be a bit different. Okay, what are you coding? Honestly, I just like ran my code. If you guys go a bit back in the stream, then you guys could see what I did. But I'm working on AI-based text logic where my NPC has different moves depending on what my user types in the keyboard. I hope you're not just making another shitty LLM wrapper. Honestly, I've never heard of LLM wrapper. Okay, Anna, which country you're from? Honestly, I used to say that. Oh, it's Anna. Never mind, guys. Are you able to help me with my Linux homework? What's about the terminal? Honestly, I haven't like learned much with using Linux. That's it. I haven't even like had much experience when it comes to like terminals, all that stuff. But I could like help you if it's related to C++. That's next up. I might need a SDL underscore renders structure, which consists of a renders local variable. There we go. Then I'm gonna go with a comma. Okay, so I need a renderer. I need a event variable. Is there anything else that I might need? Maybe not. I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my fill in my parameters here now. Although I might need a font as well, so I might go with something like a TDF underscore font, which is going to be representing but a pointer of my font. Okay, I'm pretty sure it was called something like TDF underscore font. Did I spell something wrong? Okay, the reason I can't use TDF underscore font is because I didn't include my TDF. So let's go ahead and include it. I'm going to include the true texture font section of my SDL. So I might go with something like SDL3 underscore TDF slash SDL underscore TDF dot H, which is SDL3 and SDL's is TDF section, and all the TDFs is header files. Okay, bro, why did the woman cross the road? Because she wanted to get to the other side. Guys, I didn't learn that joke. I was trying to learn different kind of joke to make my stream more entertaining. Okay, why? What's the cause for this? Honestly, I feel it's kind of cool to learn it. How old are you? Honestly, I am 17 years old. That's it. I'm going to be turning 18 really soon, guys. My birthday is January 5th. Bro, take a chill pill and interact with the chat. Honestly, guys, I feel like I do interact with the chat. Okay, to look for the kitchen, guys, look for the kitchen. It's kind of crazy. Okay, that's it. Now, I'm going to be requiring a SDL underscore colors as structure, which represents a colors as local variable as a first, local variable representing my structure here, because my text does need a color. In this case, I want my text to be black, so I might go with something like 000 and 255, ending with a semicolon. This is the RGB for black color, and the transparency is and the opacity slash alpha slash transparency is 100, means my color is not transparent at all. The second parameter that I might need could be a surface, because I gotta convert my raw text to surface and display it as a texture on my window. So I could use the SDL underscore surfaces function, actually surfaces structure that consists of all my surfaces parameter, and it's going to be represented by something like a hero, what up guys, by a hero text surfaces pointer, which is going to be equal to the TDF underscore render text blended function. So I'm going to go with something like render text underscore blended function. Now, basically what the render text blended function does is it requires all these parameters, a font, a text, a size, and a color, and it converts my text to a surface, which can then be converted to a window. Is this for something like simulators? Honestly, it is for basic game logic right now, but I want to try implementing AI logic too in my basic game logic, if that makes any sense. What's the time there? It's almost 2:30 p.m. Bro, Vic, please say Addy Parthenon. Guys, how you pronounce it? I feel my pronunciations are awful. What is orange and sounds like a parrot? What is orange and sounds like a parrot? Guys, could it be like a orange parrot? What's the point of all this? Honestly, I am working more on learning the basics of C++ and SDL3 by programming a lot, if that makes any sense. Later on, I will be going over more complex stuff, if that makes any sense. Hi, can anyone please help me? I created APK Android. I have an issue when I log in and with Google it fails. Oh, I see. Okay, can you show the results so we can see what you're building, how far along? Honestly, I was just done with my code and I deleted that to write it again because that code was 3 days old. That said, if you guys do go a bit, if you guys go to my horizontal stream, because I am streaming vertically and horizontally as well, so if you guys go to my horizontal stream and go a bit back, I did run the whole program, so you guys could see what I actually did there. That said, once I'm done creating my color and surface, I'm going to fill in a few parameters for my surface. The first is going to be a font parameter. The second is going to be a text parameter, which in this case is going to be my hero text. I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. But my hero text is just a regular string. I need a constant string. To convert my hero text to be a constant string, I got to use the .cstrings function. Now, the reason I can't actually use my C string, actually I can use it, but I think guys, it is pretty good to include string to be safe. So I'm going to go ahead and include string as well. So there we go. I honestly did not know that we could use C string without including the string module, but I do like including it for safety reasons. Cool, thanks, makes sense. Honestly, that actually does sound kind of cool. A carrot? Guys, that was actually genius. Carrot is orange and it sounds like a parrot. Okay, let's see. Next up, once I'm done adding my second parameter, my third parameter is going to be a length. In this case, I don't have a length, so I'm going to be setting it to 0. And the fourth parameter is going to be a color, which is going to be my colors is local variable. Then I end my function with a semicolon. Okay, can you say Vinayak Pandit loves Samiksha? Or is it Samiksha, guys? It's actually hard to pronounce so many words, guys. I gotta work on my pronunciations. Guy Parthanandi FD. Okay, that's it. Once I'm done with this, once I'm done creating my surface, I'm gonna use a if statement to check if my surface was actually created properly. So I might go with something like if hero texture surface, if my hero texture surface was created properly, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this because I'm pretty sure I made a typo. There we go. Then I'm gonna go ahead and create a texture. So I'm gonna use the SDL underscore textures, the structure, which consists of, let's say, something like a hero text textures local variable that is going to be equal to the SDL underscore create texture from surface function. This function creates my texture from my surface, and I then create a surface that converts my regular text to have these attributes to it. That said, my create texture from surface function does require two parameters, my render parameter and a surface parameter. Where are you from, man? Honestly, I used to like say that a lot, but I did like avoid saying that these days for like safety reasons, guys. That's it. I love your accent. Honestly, I appreciate your word things. It actually means the world to me, guys. Yo, that is yapping, isn't it? Instead of talking slowly and calmly, this guy literally disturbing the hearing. That does make sense, guys. I should talk slowly. I've been talking really, really fast for the past few days. You guys have been saying me to talk slow. So maybe I shall talk slow from now on. I did like think like so many times to like talk slowly, but I keep forgetting that for some reason. Okay, that said, guys, let me talk slowly. The second parameter is going to be my surface. Then I add my function with a semicolon. Now, once I create a texture, I gotta get the width and the height of my texture so I don't actually stretch my text out and have the perfect width and height. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a floating point value for my textures as width and my textures as height, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore get texture size function. Guys, let me know if my speed is kind of like if my talking speed is kind of slow enough, because I usually talk really quick, but I try talking slow though. That said, my SDL underscore get texture size function does require three parameters. The first parameter is going to be my texture, which in this case, it's my hero text texture. Okay, which state are you from, guys? I would say that, but I am not saying that for like safety reasons. You're always a good guy. Honestly, I appreciate you, Anas. Okay, I'm just typing to see if my name comes on the screen. Honestly, it does actually. That's the next step. I'm going to go with something like the memory address of my textures is width and the memory address of my texture is height, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I get the width and height of my texture, let's see what I gotta do. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's say use the SDL underscore render texture function. Basically, what the render texture function does is it like renders my texture, guys. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But I do need a direction vec that I have not created yet. So I might go outside of my if statement and let's go ahead and use the SDL underscore frexes structure, which consists of something like a hero text of rexes local variable, ending with a semicolon. In the other hand, should I just go with a regular rect? Because like I might use my rexes structure for my NPC rect as well. What up, guys? I think someone's knocking. Give me a sec. Let me mute myself real. Already mic testing, mic testing. Guys, someone just like knocked on my door. I think it was someone from my apartment. That's sad. Let's go to my gameplay screen. Okay, they were just here to check my breaker box, guys. Okay, let's see. Guys, I think I ruined my chat somehow. Hold on, guys. How do you get your chat back to normal? There we go. Okay, cybersecurity analyst and wants to see my name on the screen. Okay, that's next up. Once I'm done creating a general rect, I'm gonna go ahead and set a few attributes for my rect once I get my textures as width and height. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my, I don't know, maybe rect.x-axis to be equal to something like my textures is width, and then I want to multiply it by my scale as well, because I don't want my texture to be like too big or too small. So I would go ahead and require a floating point scale parameter in my display hero texture on Windows function. And then let's get my texture's height as well. So I'm going to go with something like rect.y-axis equals to my texture's height multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon. Okay, it's okay to just chill once with the 8. Oh, that actually does make sense, guys. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done adding my textures width and height, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the parameters of my render texture function. So the first parameter that I require is going to be my render. So I'm going to go with something like render. The second parameter that I require is a texture. In this case, it's going to be my hero text texture. Okay, let me go ahead and paste that here. The third parameter is going to be a source rect. Since I don't have a source rect, I'm going to set that to be equal to null PDR, which is technically a, let's say, a placeholder for pointers. Okay, you don't feel exposed yet, but you will, because from this moment, you're not on the hiding anymore. You're just waiting, and trust me, I'm very patient. Guys, very patient. It's kind of crazy. Okay, that's it. Next up, lastly, the the fourth parameter is going to be the memory address of my rect. Then I end my function with a semicolon. And this is like pretty much it for my display hero on Windows function. Although, since I created a texture and a surface, I do gotta destroy them as well. Because guys, there's a rule in C++. When you create something, you do gotta destroy them. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore destroy textures method with a parentheses. This method requires a textures parameter, or in this case, my hero textures parameter, ending with a semicolon. Then outside my if statement, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore destroy, let's say something like surfaces function, which requires my hero text surfaces parameter. Okay, and honestly, that's like pretty much it for this function. And then I'm gonna go ahead and end that with a semicolon. Okay, this is about Facebook, bro. Guys, I do want to actually start streaming on Facebook. Okay, what do you call a belt made of watches and a waste of time? Guys, that's actually an insane joke. I might actually upload a short on that. I should have had a better reaction, guys. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done creating a void method for display hero text on window, I'm going to go ahead and exit my method and create another void method of something like general text events. So I might go with something like maybe hero text events. So I could go with something like hero text events. My hero text events is gonna be, I don't know, a function that only has my hero events. Like when I tap something on my keyboard, it displays on a window type stuff. Okay, can you show me your dongle? Guys, showing dongle is kind of crazy. I have a job. I'm a cybersecurity analyst, and on the side, I'm also president of Venezuela. Guys, that actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, so my hero text events method is going to be requiring a parameter of a constant, let's say something like the SDL underscore events structure, which consists of the memory address of the events' local variable. Then I go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside my method, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and use the SDL underscore key codes structure, which consists of the keys' local variable that is going to be equal to my event.key.key. Basically, what the event.key.key does, it checks the exact button that I'm currently pushing in my keyboard. That's it. Congrats, bro. Honestly, I appreciate your crossplay, guys. It actually means the world to me. I've been trying to figure this code out for like 3 streams now. Howdy, Tib. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, Vivek, you're an esteemed kid. Honestly, I appreciate you for that word text, guys. I don't know what an esteemed kid means, but I feel like it sounds kind of cool. Okay, that's it. Next up, let me go ahead and add a if statement. So, in my if statement, I'm going to check something. I'm going to look for a specific event type. So, I'm going to check if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. Basically, this event type looks if any of my buttons on my keyboard are currently being pushed down. If it is, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to, let's say, I don't know, maybe add switches. You guys could use if statement. It's honestly the same thing. I feel switches look a bit more cool, guys. Yeah, I have no idea how coding works, but this is pretty cool for real. Honestly, it does sound kind of cool. That's it. Now my switch is going to be requiring a parameter of my key. Then I go with the pair of curly braces. Now inside my switch, I'm going to use a few cases. For example, I'm going to set my first case to check if my SDL's key is the backspace. The reason I'm actually adding backspace, hold up guys, there we go. The reason I'm actually adding backspace, how do you spell backspace? There we go. Okay, perfect guys, took me a long time to write that. Okay, the reason I was actually looking for backspace is because this is for text events, like for typing something that my user actually displays on the window. So if I made a mistake, I do want to delete what I typed. So I'm gonna go with something like backspace. Guys, I keep messing the spelling up. There we go. Okay, it's just print hello world. Okay, thank you. Hiding Scott, I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it guys, did I spell backspace wrong? S-P-A-C-E. There we go. Okay, now if my key is backspace, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna use a if statement to check if at least something is written in my window before I start deleting stuff. So I might go with something like, if not, let's say something like text input dot the empty function. Then I'm gonna do something. If my input text is not empty, let's go with something like input text. Guys, what was the variable's name? Oh, it's hero text input. Okay, so if my hero's text input is not empty and something is written in my window, then I want to go ahead and use the hero text input dot the pop underscore back function. The pop underscore back function, it removes an alphabet, or like it removes the last element or whatever I'm trying to remove stuff from. Hello world, how are you doing Sprungly? Sprungle, I appreciate you joining the stream. I got 98 in IT in 10th grade. That's actually really insane, guys. I feel you guys are like way too smart. Bro, do you know OpenGL for C++? I'm making a game engine and need some help. Honestly, I haven't like started OpenGL yet. The reason I use like SDL is because it's like a graphics library in C++ and it requires more programming than like game engines. And I did want to like work on something that requires more coding, so I get like some coding experience type stuff. That said, now once I'm done creating my case here, I'm gonna go ahead and add a break as well, because a really important rule when it comes to cases, guys. When we create a case, we gotta break it as well. Now, next up, for my second case, I'm gonna check if my SDL's key is something like return. Return is basically if I hit enter on my keyboard. So if I hit enter, I want to display whatever I was typing on my window on my console, if that makes any sense. Okay, I'm using OpenGL because it's easier to learn. I might actually learn OpenGL as well. Can you give me a shout out to my coding teacher with cancer? Her name is Naikyu. Guys, if it's something nostalgic, I don't want to like messy pronunciations. I'm gonna copy that real quick. I want to actually check the real pronunciations out. Hold up, guys. Let me paste that and say something like pronunciations. Okay, because guys, usually I feel like I mess the names up really bad. So it's Neighbor. Okay, so is it actually pronounced as Neighbor? Okay, W teacher Neighbor, guys. Okay, that's the next up. If my case is returned, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. So firstly, I want to go ahead and display my console output on my text. So I'm gonna go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like, I don't know, maybe hero text. So I might go with something like hero. My hero is saying something. I'm gonna go with another insertion operator. And my bad, guys, not Niger. Okay, let's see. Let's copy my hero text's hero text inputs is standard string variable here, and let's go ahead and paste it here. So I'm going to be displaying my heroes as text, and then I'm going to add another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done displaying my text on my console, I want to go ahead and remove my text from my window as well. But before I do remove my text from my window, I want to go ahead and, I don't know, maybe, let's see, I want to store whatever I typed inside of my histories as vectors, so later on I can like look into that stuff. Okay, why did the dead baby cross the road? It was stapled to the chicken. Guys, stapled to the chicken is actually kind of crazy. Say it with me, Blake. Honestly, what you say? Okay, you're leaking memory here because the surface isn't freed after creating the texture at SDL underscore free surface hero texture. Also, SDL underscore get texture size isn't part of SDL2. The correct is SDL underscore query. Honestly, yeah, it's not a part of SDL2, but I'm using SDL3. That's it. Where are you from? I used to answer much, but I did like avoid saying that these days for like safety reasons, guys. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like history. Like, I'm #1 fan. Don't ignore me, senpai. Honestly, I appreciate you, Scout, for that. Actually means the world to me, guys. Okay, bro, you're leaking memory. Take a look. Honestly, I should actually fix that. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like my histories is vector. Did I spell it correct? Was it called something like Okay, what's called history. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy my history. Let's go ahead and paste it here. Dot the push underscore back function. The push underscore back function is the complete opposite of my pop underscore back function. I want to push back my hero text input. So now my histories consist of something. Once I'm done pushing my histories back inside of my vector, I'm gonna go ahead and clear my hero text input, so there's nothing left in my window once I hit enter. And then I'm gonna end that with a semicolon. Now to fix my memory leak, what was the function I had to use? I had to use the SDL underscore free surface hero text surface. Okay, so where do I exit it though? So hero text surface. Honestly, I did actually clear my text surface. I went with like SDL underscore destroy surface. Okay, I think that the code that you were like the functions that you were looking at were the functions for SDL2, but I am working on SDL3 because I remember the query function is from SDL2. Okay, thanks though. A doctor told me that joke when a friend of mine delivered a stillborn baby. I see. It was a crazy day. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done adding my second my second case as well, I'm gonna go ahead and break, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Now, once I'm done with both my cases, is there any other case that I might need? I actually might need a third case to check my history. So, for my third case, I'm gonna check if my SDL's key is something like H. If my user clicked H on my window, then I want to go ahead and display my histories up. But before I actually do that, hold on guys, maybe I need another parameter. So when I type something on my window, the only time I want to type something on my window is when my chat is not on. So I gotta go ahead, excuse me guys, and require another parameter here. Okay, maybe like not in this method, maybe like in this method. I'm gonna go ahead and require a parameter of my chat on. Okay, so only while my chat is on, I want to go ahead and actually accept some user inputs. So I'm gonna go with something like a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like if chat on, then I'm gonna go with a pair of curly braces. Did I spell it correct? Chat on. It's gonna be a boolean of chat on. So while my chat is on, that's the only time I want this to happen. Or even like when my chat is on and while my player is like walking around, my histories or like my text will be displayed on my window. Okay, can I tap sprinkle my... Okay, anything for you. Okay, you're leaking because the surface isn't freed after creating the texture. Also, do you please yourself with a butt plug or just hands? Guys, honestly, that's kind of crazy. Let's go. Okay, next up, let's see. What is the second thing that I might need? Let's go ahead and delete that. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and add a third case. For my third case, I'm gonna check if my SDL's key is tab. And let's go with something like my SDL's key is H. Because usually I click H regularly when I want to type something as well. I don't want to like display my histories by mistake. So I want to go ahead and click tab and H. If that is my case, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Let's copy that. My bad guys, my case goes here. There we go. Firstly, I want to go ahead and use an index-based for loop to iterate over my histories as vector. Okay, why did the little girl fall off the swing? She got shot. Guys, I think let's keep child jokes off this, unless like it's not really offensive against them type stuff. Okay, honestly, that would be kind of crazy, guys. I'm getting a knock again. Hold up, guys. Let me check who's out there. Give me a sec. Let me mute myself. Already mic testing. Guys, I don't know why there are like a lot of interference today. Okay, big fan, bro. Honestly, I appreciate you, Zorojiro. That actually means the world to me, guys. Okay, that's sad. Let's see. Bro, isn't just a kid, bro? You're weird as hell. Okay, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and use an index-based for loop. So I'm gonna go with something like for the integer of I, which equals to something like 0. While my I is less than, let's say something like my history.size. While my I is less than my vector's size, I want to go ahead and increment my by 1. So I'm going to go with I++. and then add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside my for loop, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Okay, 8 oh hell no, bro, it's 2 a.m. Okay, knock knock, who's there? Not the little girl. Guys, let's not make little girl or little kid jokes in general. Okay, you need some head, bro. Okay, let's see, next up. I'm gonna go ahead and, let's see, do something. So I'm gonna go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. I wanna go ahead and display my history. So I'm gonna go with something like history, let's say something like at index of I. So I'm going to go ahead and display my histories at index of I with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Then a really important stuff, guys, maybe just for us to know that actually our history is being displayed, I'm going to go with another standard console output that says something like history. So I'm going to go with something like history. There we go. Okay, that's actually pretty much it. Let's go with maybe 3 hyphens there and 3 hyphens here, just for it to look good. And then a /new line. Okay, and honestly, that's like pretty much it for my 3 cases here. I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Okay, are you free to just come over? Okay, bro, I'm gonna stop with these kids jokes. I'm sorry, guys. That actually does make sense, because like almost like any jokes is fine, except if it's like related to like minor type stuff, because I don't want anything to be offensive against them. That's it. Let me drink some coffee because today I just got like 4 hours of sleep. I'm really sleepy, guys. Okay, let's see. That's actually pretty much it for my hero text events function. Although I just realized one thing. I might need another function. Actually, another event check. So for my this event check, I'm going to be checking something. I'm going to check if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore text underscore input. So basically what the SDL underscore event text input says keyword does or event type does is it like looks for if I'm like trying to type any event type on my keyboard, then it's going to register those. So I'm going to go ahead and do something. I'm going to set my hero text input, okay, to increase by, let's say something like my event.text. And honestly, this part is pretty much it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and exit outside of my second method. What other methods would I need? So I created a method for displaying my heroes as text on my window. I created a method for actually, displaying my heroes as, whatever he types on the console. And also, I also added histories. I might not add any methods right now. Do you like pizza? Honestly, guys, I don't like fast food in general. That's don't you get paid? Okay, yo, don't pay them any attention, bro. He's just weird, guys. That actually does make sense. Toggle man, do you want to know his college course location ID for tracking purposes? Guys, actually, for tracking purposes, actually kind of crazy. That's it. Let me drink some more coffee, guys. I cannot commentate properly because of my sleep. I'm like half sleepy up here. And guys, I feel this is like way too less coffee. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and create another class now. My second class is going to be called something like physics body. So I'm going to go with something like physics body. Basically, the physics body class is going to be, consisting of all the general public data members that my other classes are going to be requiring. For example, my other classes might require something like, I don't know, a floating point of x-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be like 5 pixels per frame ending with a semicolon, a floating point of y-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to 0. The reason I added my y-axis velocity to be like .OF floating point ending with a semicolon is because I don't want to like add an additional y-axis velocity because I will be adding gravity that's going to pull them downwards. Speaking of gravity, I might have to create a floating point gravity variable as well, which is going to be equal to something like 0.5 ending with a semicolon. Wait, can you start bridge course? Honestly, I haven't like heard of bridge course, but someone did like say me to like make tutorials or videos of me like writing this code because they cannot like stick through the stream, but they will definitely like watch my videos type stuff. So I actually might make a video on this. Okay, why was Helen Keller bad at driving? Honestly, why? Okay, that's it. Let's see. I need an x-axis velocity, I need gravity, and I need y-axis velocity. That's honestly all the physics body local variables that I can think of. And now let's add a few methods. So basically, I'm going to be adding a few general methods. For example, a void method for apply gravity. Excuse me, guys. There we go. Okay, so now my apply gravity method is going to be requiring, let's say something like one parameter, which is going to be a floating point of my floors as y-axis. and then I go with the pair of curly braces. Maybe I also go with my y-axis velocity here. I mean, I already have it to be 0 pixels per frame. Okay, that's it now. Which we call it the most basic formula for applying gravity is increasing speed by acceleration. In this case, my speed is y-axis underscore velocity, which is set to 0 pixels per frame, but I'm going to be increasing that by my gravity, which is 0.5 pixels per frame. So every single iteration, my speed increases by 0.5. So my hero starts falling faster and faster every single second. Bro, I love your streams. Honestly, I appreciate you. Achinti, is that how I pronounce your name? Okay, bro, did you know React Java? Did you know React JavaScript or React Jest? I mean, honestly, I haven't like started JavaScript yet, but I do want to like start pretty soon because I feel like JavaScript is kind of fun, guys. That's it now. Once I'm done increasing my speed by my acceleration, I'm gonna go ahead and increase my position by my speed. Let's see, to increase my position, let's see what to do. I honestly gotta go with something like my position, which is my vector, so I might actually require a parameter of my vector's y-axis. Speaking of which, why did I needed a vector. I might actually need a vector as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a SDL underscore f vector structure, which is gonna be called something like rect, ending with a semicolon. Okay, now I want to increase my x-axis, actually position. So could I go with something like a variable called floor? My position is gonna be my vector x-axis. I don't know, maybe I could go with something like rect.x-axis is gonna be increasing by, let's say, something like my y-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. This is gonna be rect.y-axis, guys, my bad. Okay, it's Chintia. Oh, I see. I think the A is silent. Chinchilla does make sense too. It's kind of cool of a name. Okay, do you like pizza? Honestly, guys, I don't think I actually like pizza. Like, I don't like fast food in general. That makes any sense. I do like black coffee though. It's kind of cool. I feel like I like bitter stuff in general. That makes any sense. That said, I have a rect here, so I gotta use my rect for my actual rectangle of my mage. That's it now. Once I'm done adding my gravity here, this is going to be constantly pulling my player down without a place for my player to land on. I do want to add some kind of space where my player can actually land on. So I'm going to go with the if statement to work on my landing. I'm going to check if my rect.y-axis is something, if my rect.y-axis plus my rect.height is, I don't know, maybe something like greater than, higher than or equal to at the same level as my floors is y-axis. Let's go with something like floors is y-axis. Then I'm going to do something. I'm going to set my rect.y-axis to be equal to, let's go with something like my floors is y-axis minus my rex's height. Okay, perfect. Then I end with a semicolon. Lastly, this is not like mandatory, but I do prefer setting my y-axis velocity to be 0, so like my hero is not constantly being pulled down anymore. Okay, pizza these nuts, guys. Pizza these nuts. It's kind of crazy. Okay, yep, I'm gone, bro. I'll appear another day. Honestly, I appreciate you sticking through the stream, Tint. I'll catch you next stream. That said, this is actually pretty much it for my apply gravity method. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and create another method. I think it's gonna be called a jump method. This method is going to be checking if my hero is currently on ground, and if he is on ground, I want him to not be on ground anymore. To do that, I could go ahead and create a void method called something like, I don't know, maybe something like jump with a pair of parentheses. Then my jump method is going to be requiring a floating point parameter of something like power, ending with actually, and then I'm going to add a pair of curly braces. Now, basically what my jump method is going to do, I'm just going to be increasing my y-axis underscore velocity, or not increasing, setting my y-axis velocity to be equal to my negative power. So whatever parameter I give here, it's going to be pulling my player upward. So if it's like 12 pixels per frame, my player is going to jump up negative 12 pixels per frame, if that makes any sense, guys. Okay, and that's actually pretty much the only two basic methods that I need. Now, I could go ahead and create a void draw method as well. The reason I am creating these methods here and not inside of my heroes class is because I might need to add gravity and like the draw method on my mage class as well. And if I think of adding multiple classes, I would need these for like all my other classes. Jokes aside, love your stream, bro. Honestly, I appreciate you, Zoro, guys. That actually means the world to me. Okay, in turn, internal pointer variable. Oh, I see. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go with something like a draw method. Now, my draw method is gonna be requiring a bunch of parameters. The first is gonna be a SDL underscore renders parameter, which requires a pointer of my renders local variable. And then let's see, what else would my draw method require? Honestly, I can just think of a render for the time being, so I might just require a render parameter. Then I'm gonna go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside my draw method, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore render textures as function. Basically, what the render textures as function does is it saves my render to render a texture. Guys, I think that was kind of self-explanatory. Although my render textures as function is going to be requiring a bunch of parameters. The first is going to be my render. The second is going to be my texture. So I'm going to be creating a SDL underscore textures structure, which let's say has a local parameter of something like my texture. Okay, I might go with something like, I think a texture is pretty good, ending with a semicolon. So I'm going to go ahead and add my textures parameter here as well. Now my third parameter is going to be a null, is going to be a source rect. Since I didn't create a source rect, I'm going to be setting that to be nullptr, which is basically a placeholder for pointers. And lastly, my fourth parameter is going to be the memory address of my DST rect slash my actual rect. DST rect is basically just the position of my rect. And that's actually pretty much it for my draw method. Now we're doing some more coffee. How are you doing today? Honestly, I feel like I'm way too sleepy, guys. I got like just 4 hours of sleep last night. So I was like, what do you call it? I had to like, my sister had like her graduation today. So I had to like wake up at like, I think I woke up at about like 7 a.m. But before that, I did wake up at 5 a.m. I thought I'm going to blast my ears with a lot of music so I can get myself up. But I could not get out of the bed. That's it. Probably because I did sleep like a bit late last night as well. Okay, and I feel like I've never enjoyed the coffee this much as I've done today. Okay, now once I'm done creating my physics bodies as class, I'm gonna go ahead and create another class called something like hero. And now my heroes as class is gonna inherit all the public content from something like my physics bodies as class. Okay, I think I spelled it wrong. But up guys, let's go with something like physics body. And then I go with the pair of curly braces. Now, firstly, inside of my heroes as class, do I need any private data members? Usually, I take texture as a private data member, but I'm assuming that I might not need any private data members here. Okay, so in that case, I'm gonna go ahead and, I don't know, maybe create a constructor for my heroes. So, firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and publicize everything. Okay, alright guys, let's go ahead and publicize everything. And then add a comment that says something like constructor. Now, inside my constructor, I'm gonna go ahead and create a constructor for my heroes class that does consist of, let's say, maybe 3 parameters. Okay, hiding long story, I appreciate you joining the stream. So, I'm going to be consisting of, let's say, something like a floating point for x-axis, a floating point for y-axis. Alright guys, let's go with something like x-axis, a floating point for y-axis, and a floating point for height as well. So I'm going to go with something like floating point for scale. My bad guys, not height, scale. Okay, so basically I'm going to give my heroes as x-axis, heroes as y-axis, and a scale for my hero slash a size for my hero. The question is, why do I get a red underline here? Maybe because I got to add a colon here and then create a constructor for the class that I'm inheriting from. Since I'm inheriting from my physics bodies as class, I technically gotta create a constructor here, but I don't even think like I need a constructor because I don't even have a constructor here. But if I want to save some typing later on in my class, like if I want to keep my main loop clean, I could create a constructor that requires these 2 parameters right here, if that makes any sense. Bro, where are you from? Honestly, I used to answer that much, but I did stop answering that for like safety reasons. That's it. How are you doing? Gosh, is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's it. Now, let me go ahead and I might as well create a constructor because, like, I wouldn't want to add x-axis and y-axis for, like, all my classes. Okay, take care, bro. Get some sleep. Honestly, after the stream, I'm probably going to get some real good sleep, guys. Okay, for now, I just got to survive on some coffee. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and create a constructor. So, I'm going to go ahead and create a constructor for my physics bodies as class. Okay, now my physics as bodies as constructor will be requiring, let's say, 3 parameters. The first parameter, actually I might go with something like, I think 3 parameters. The first parameter is going to be a floating point x-axis. The second parameter is going to be a floating point y-axis. Lastly, the third parameter is going to be a floating point scale. And then I go with the prof curly braces. Inside my constructor, I'm going to set something like my rectangle's x-axis is going to be equal to my x-axis parameter ending with a semicolon. My rectangle's y-axis is going to be equal to my y-axis parameter ending with a semicolon. And that's pretty much it. Now, since I added those 2 parameters here, I'm not going to be needing my x-axis and y-axis floating point parameters. Instead, let's see, I might just need my heroes as parameter here. Although now, since I do have a constructor in my physics bodies as class, I might have to create a constructor here for my physics bodies as class. So I'm going to go with something like physics body that requires 3 parameters. The first parameter is going to be x-axis, which I'm going to be setting to be 100. The second parameter is going to be y-axis, which is going to be 100 as well. Lastly, the third parameter is going to be scale, which in this case, I'm going to set that to be my scales as variable here. Actually, parameter. Then I go with the prof curly braces. What do you think today? Honestly, I feel like you're a bit late. Like, if you do remember last stream, I was trying to work on text-based AI logic and display whatever my NPC responds to my hero depending on his mood on my display, but I couldn't display it on my actual window, but it was showing on my console. But today I did figure out how to actually display it on my window. Apparently, I ran my method inside of my event loop, but I had to run it outside of my event loop because event loop just works when an event is being triggered, if that makes any sense. Okay, bro, see you tomorrow. Honestly, I appreciate you sticking through the stream, Zorjo. I'll catch you next stream. That said, let's see. Now, inside my heroes as constructor, do I want to do something? I honestly did everything here. Actually, no, I didn't do everything here. So I'm gonna scroll all the way down here. I'm gonna go ahead and set my texture to be equal to a texture. So I'm gonna set my textures as local variable to be equal to, let's say something like the I don't know, maybe SDL underscore, actually image underscore load texture. There we go. Image underscore the load textures this function. And now the reason I can use my function here is because I did not include my image section of my SDL. So I'm gonna go ahead and include a prof ankle braces. Let's say I want to include SDL3 underscore image slash SDL underscore image dot h, which is basically SDL3's image section and all the header files from my image section. That said, let's scroll all the way down here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and require 2 parameters inside of my load textures function. The first parameter is going to be my renderer, which in this case is going to be my renderer that I did not require parameter of. So I might actually require a parameter of my renderer in my constructor. Maybe, yeah, I could actually require a parameter, so I might go with something like SDL underscore renderer with an asterisk to a renderer as a local variable. So there we go. Okay, then I go with something like a comma. Now, the second parameter is going to be the file path of my image. In this case, my image is going to be somewhere inside my NPCs folder slash, let's say something like hero.png. Okay, so how many other things are you planning to learn before the final project? Honestly, I think there are a bunch of things because for my C++ for 100-day series, I am trying to work on a lot of AI logic now. But for now, there are 6 steps towards my text-based AI logic. I am in step 5. I might move on to step 6 maybe next stream. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to work on a different kind of AI logic. For example, my NPC chasing my player if I get close to it or something like that type stuff. And once my C++ series is over, I'm going to go ahead and try using Python and C++ in the same project. Python for my AI logic, C++ for my speed and all that stuff. If that makes any sense, guys. I don't actually think that it's going to be that easy because I got to figure a lot of things out to actually get my Python running inside of my C++ project. Because guys, I feel like I tried that a lot before it didn't work, surprisingly. It could be because I had college. That's all. Let me drink some water because I feel I'm kind of dehydrated, guys. Okay, let's see, what else would I need? And why do I have a strong feeling that my program might, my hero might not compile here? Because I have my hero in my I have my texture inside of my constructor. Texture in my constructor. Nah, I think it would compile. I think I would compile. Okay, then once I'm done with that, I got user from method. This is my texture. That is going to be my heroes' texture. I have a render, my heroes' render. And then rect, which is going to be my heroes' rect. Okay, that should actually be pretty much it. Okay, but I do want to get the actual width and height from my hero. So I'm going to go ahead and create a floating point variable of a textures as width and textures height, ending with a semicolon. Maybe I could have a draw method here as well. It's the same thing, honestly. Okay, next up, I'm going to go ahead and use the SDL_getTextureSize function. This function actually gets my texture size, but it does require 3 parameters. Does this go outside my constructor? I want to add this outside my constructor, honestly. It's gonna hard good luck. Honestly, it's gonna be hard good luck. I appreciate your long story, guys. And actually, it does make sense. The only hard part is going to be for me to figure out how to get Python running in C++, guys. Like, I'm really awful with that stuff. That said, maybe I want to get all this outside my constructor for some reason. I might actually get it outside my constructor, but I'm just going to copy this part. Let's go ahead and delete this part. I mean, I think I need this part as well. I'm just going to go with something like my texture, which is going to be my texture here. And then I'm going to be requiring the memory address of my textures' width and the memory address of my textures' height, ending with a semicolon. Then I go with something like rect.x-axis equals, I have x-axis and y-axis. I'm just going to go with something like width, which equals to my textures' width, ending with a semicolon, and rect.height, which equals to my textures' height, ending with a semicolon. Why do I have a strong feeling I've already done that somewhere here? Did I? Okay, I did it for my text, not for my, not for my, heroes' PNG. Bros, live commentary for coding. It actually sounds kind of fun, guys. Okay, let's see. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and exit outside my constructor, add a comment that says something like, I don't know, maybe display. I'm going to go with something like display. Maybe I'll just go with something like methods. These are going to be my general methods, guys. Firstly, I'm going to go ahead and create a white method called something like display hero on window. So I'm going to go ahead and display my hero on window. Speaking of which, guys, isn't this exactly the same as my draw method inside of my physics bodies class? Why would I want to display it here? I might not need this. In that case, I might go with something like hero. Still, let's go with something like hero. Event keys is variable. This is going to be for moving my hero using key controls. I'm going to go with a pair of parentheses. Now, my hero key events method does require a parameter. It's going to be requiring a constant parameter of, let's say, something like SDL_events structure, which is going to be having the memory address of my events' local variable, ending with a semicolon. My bad, guys, not ending with a semicolon. I'm going to add a pair of curly braces. And then now, inside my method, I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and use the SDL_key codes structure, which is going to be represented by a keys' local variable that is going to be equal to my event.key.key. What this basically means is my keys' local variable now is going to be looking for the exact button that is being pushed in my window, actually in my keyboard. And then I'm going to be using an if statement to check event types. Firstly, the only time I want my user to be moving around if my chat is not on, so I might require another parameter of a boolean of chat on. Then I'm going to go with something like if not chat on. If my chat is not on, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Did I spell chat on wrong? Why did I write on? This is going to be chat on. There we go. Okay, so if my chat is not on, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and add a if statement to look for an event type. I'm going to look for a specific event type. I'm going to check if my event.type equals to SDL_event_key_down. If my event type is key down, if any of my buttons in my keyboards are being pushed down, I want to look exactly what button is being pushed down. So I might use switches. My switch is going to be consisting of a keys' local variable as a parameter that checks the exact key that's being pushed down. I'm going to do something if specific buttons are being pushed. For example, for my case 1, I could check if my SDL's key is A. If my A is currently being pushed down in my keyboard and my chat is off, I want to do something. I want to set a few Boolean variables to be true, so I might create two Boolean variables. First is going to be something like A down is my A currently being pushed down. Hold on guys, there we go. I'm going to set this to be false because my A is not being pushed down. Then I go with something like D down and I set my D down to be equal to false as well because my D is also not being pushed down. I'm doing Everton, I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, once my A is being pushed down, I'm gonna set my A down Boolean variable to be something like true, ending with a semicolon. And then I break since this is like a case. Okay, ending with a semicolon as well. For my second case, I'm gonna check if my SDL's key is something like D. While my D is being pushed down, I'm gonna go ahead and set my D down to be set to true, ending with a semicolon. Then let's go ahead and break. And then once I'm done with all that, I'm gonna add a third case. This time, I'm gonna check if my space is currently being pushed down. So I'm gonna check if my SDL's key is something like space. If my space is currently being pushed down, I'm gonna do something. I don't have a space down this boolean because I actually don't need it, because if my space is not being pushed down, my gravity is going to be pulling me down. If that makes any sense, guys. That said, now once my space is actually being pushed down, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna add a if statement to check if I'm currently on ground. So I might require a boolean of on ground variable as well. Let's go with something like on ground. Okay, and I'm gonna check something like if I am on ground, then I'm gonna do something. Let's go with something like on ground. Excuse me, guys. Okay, if I am on ground and my user clicks space, then I'm gonna go ahead and use my jump method and add a parameter of my jump strength. Excuse me, guys, /power, which could be something like 12 pixels per frame, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm gonna break because this is a class. And guys, I got my jump method from the class that I'm inheriting from, aka my physics body cells class, like this method right here. And that's pretty much it for my first event type. Just to save some time, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this event type and then paste it here. Now for my second event type, I'm gonna check if my SDL's key that's currently being pushed down, if my SDL's key that's not being pushed down anymore. So the key up is the exact opposite of key down. Key down checks if a button is being pushed down. Key up checks if it's not being pushed down anymore. If any of these buttons are not being pushed down, I'm gonna set my true to be false. So, because my A is not being pushed down and my B is not being pushed down anymore. And I'll just remove my third case of space from here, because like if none of my buttons are being pushed down, which means my space is not going to be pushed up also, because gravity is going to be pulling him down type stuff. That said, these are the two basic variables for actually switching these two buttons to be on or off. Now I'm going to go ahead and do something else. Let's exit. Maybe should I exit outside of my chat? Yeah, maybe I could do it here as well. It's honestly the same exact thing. Or should I do it outside? What other event types would my player need? Let me think. So while my chat is not on, I want my player to move around as well. I mean, I feel it's like the same thing. I could do it inside my if statement here as well. I'm gonna add... I want to do it outside though. I mean, I could do it inside. I'm gonna just add a comment that says something like key controls. This is going to be the section where I actually add key controls for my players. For example, I'm going to go ahead and add a if statement to check if my A down is set to true. If it is set to true, I'm going to do something. I'm going to go with the prof curly braces and then increase my rect.x-axis, my heroes' x-axis, actually decrease it by my x-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. The reason I decrease it is because like if we decrease something, we go towards the left. When I hit A, I want to go towards the left. And then I'm going to go ahead and check if my D down is set to true. If it is, then I'm going to be increasing my Rex's x-axis by my x-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. If I push D, then I go towards the right 5 pixels per frame. And I think that's very much it for my key controls. So is there anything else that I want to add? Let's think. Honestly, maybe I don't want to add anything else for my hero events. Okay, so that should be pretty much good. Okay, so I added a constructor here. I have a drop method. I should be able to draw my hero on my window, so let's try that. guys, because I might not extend the stream for like too long today because I am really sleepy. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and create a main function now. Let's go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses. Now my main function does require, let's say, 2 parameters. The first parameter is going to be an integer of argc. The second parameter is going to be a character towards an array of argv. Okay, and then I go with the pair of curly braces. Now inside my main function, I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says something like initialize. Okay, because in order to like use my SDL or my TDF, I do gotta initialize them. And I'm gonna be using an if statement to initialize my SDL while checking if it was not initialized as well, because apparently in C++ we do gotta give ourselves errors. So I'm gonna go with something like if a pair of parentheses, let's say something like if not SDL underscore init with a pair of parentheses SDL underscore init underscore video. If my SDL's video section was not initialized properly, then I want to do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and display myself an error message telling that my SDL did not initialize properly. So I might go with something like a standard C error with an insertion operator that says something like SDL underscore init error. Okay, and then I go with another insertion operator and use a standard end line. Okay, before I use a standard end line, I'm going to use a function that actually gets me an error because I just don't want to display an error text. I want to give myself an error as well. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore get errors this function with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Now lastly, I'm going to go ahead and return one saying something went wrong with this block of code, so go check it out. That said, I'm going to be initializing my TDF as well, exactly the same way as I did for my SDL. For example, I could go with something like if not TDF underscore init if my TDF was not initialized properly. I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to display myself an error message, so I'm gonna go with a standard C error that says something like TDF underscore init error. Okay, my TDF did not initialize properly. Then I go with another insertion operator and use the function that actually gets me an error. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore get errors as function. This function actually gets me an error. Then I'm going to go with something like another insertion operator of a standard end line. What up, guys? There we go. End line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and return one. And that's pretty much it for my initializations. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says something like game variables. These are going to be the basic game variables that I'm going to be requiring. For example, I might need something like a integer of a width variable, which is going to be my Windows' width. That is going to be something like 1000 ending with a semicolon. And then a integer of my height variable, which is going to be equal to something like 800, which is going to be my Windows' height as well, ending with a semicolon. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and create, let's say, another... do I need any other game variables? I mean, if I do, I could always add them. That's it. I might need another comment that says something like create window to create window and a renderer. Basically, what this means is I'm going to be creating a window and renderer at the same time. But in order to do that, I would need two local pointers. The first local pointer is going to be representing my SDL underscore Windows structure, and I'm going to be calling it something like window. I'm going to be setting it to be null PDR for the time being. That is like placeholder for pointers. The second pointer that I'm going to be creating is going to be representing my SDL underscore renders structure. My pointer is going to be called render, which is going to be equal to null PDR as well. Exactly the same as my window, which is a placeholder for pointers. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and use a function that actually creates my window and renderer at the same time. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore create a window and renderer function. This function creates both my window and my renderer at the same time, but it does require a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is going to be, let's say, a title / a caption for my window, which in this case, I'm going to be setting it to be something like SDL3 window created. Okay, the second parameter is going to be my Windows' width and height, so I'm going to go ahead and use my width variable and my height variable to... There we go. The fourth parameter is going to be a flag for my window. If you guys don't want to add a flag, you guys could go with 0, but I do want to add a flag that makes my window resizable. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore window underscore resizable flag. This flag makes my window resizable. Then for the fifth and sixth parameter, I'm going to go ahead and use the memory address of my window and the memory address of my renderers as pointer. So I'm gonna go with something like the address of operator window and the address of operator from my renderer. Then I add my function with a semicolon. Okay, and that basically creates my window and renderer. But since this is C++, I do gotta use a if statement to check if I got an error apparently. So let's go with something like if a prof parentheses. I'm gonna check something like if not a window if my window was not created properly, or not a renderer if my renderer was not created properly. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I'm gonna display myself an error text. I'm gonna go with something like a standard C error with an insertion operator that says something like SDL underscore create window and renderer error. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with something like another insertion operator of, let's say, something like a SDL underscore the get errors function with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, basically how I get my error name is I just like say the function name and slap an error right after that. And now, if either my window or my renderer was not created properly, I do want to exit my SDL, so I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore quit with a prof parentheses ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I want to go ahead and return 1, seeing something went wrong in this block of code. Alright, once I'm done creating my window and my renderer, I'm going to go ahead and add another comment. This time, I'm going to add a comment that says something like create objects. Okay, so for the time being, I just have 2 objects. The first object is going to be representing my chats class. It is going to be called my chats object. Doesn't require any parameters. It does not have a constructor, so it does not require any parameters. But my hero requires 2 parameters, renderer and scale. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Secondly, I'm going to create an object representing my heroes class. It's going to be called a heroes object, which requires a render parameter and a scale, which I'm going to be setting to 0.1 ending with a semicolon. 0.1 is basically 10% of my original size. That said, I just realized the thing that was feeling kind of empty and missing here was in my game variables section. I'm going to add another comment that says something like create a rex. Okay, basically what rects are like, I would need a floor. My floor is basically just an extended rectangle. So I'm going to go ahead and use the SDL underscore frex structure. Okay, let's say which consists of something like a floors is local variable ending with a semicolon. Now I'm going to fill in a few parameters. Let's say something like floor.x-axis equals to something like, I don't know, maybe 0 ending with a semicolon. Floors' y-axis is going to be something like 500 since my height is 800. Because I don't want my floor to be like at the same level as my height. I want it to be a bit higher so I have a ground to actually stand on. What up guys, floor.y-axis is going to be equal to 700 ending with a semicolon. Then I'm going to go with something like floor.width, which is going to be equal to 1050. That is bigger than my windows' width. And lastly, I'll go with something like floor.height, which is going to be equal to something like 800 ending with a semicolon. Actually, I think 800 is too big. I'll go with something like 100. Not too big, not too small. Okay, and that's actually pretty much it for my floors as parameters. Now, let's create my main loop. So I'm going to go ahead and add a comment that says main loop. But before my main loop, I gotta add another comment here that says something like font, like load font. Because for displaying my text on a window, I do gotta display certain fonts text on my window. So I could go ahead and use the TDF underscore fonts structure, which consists of a fonts pointer that is going to be equal to, let's say something like the TDF underscore open fonts method. My bad guys, when I said method, I meant function. Now the TDF underscore open font requires 2 parameters. The first parameter is going to be my file path for my fonts, which in this case is going to be something like font slash open sans. So let's go with something like open sans hyphen italic. I hope this is a correct file path. .tdf. Okay, and then I'm going to go with a comma and add my font's size to be something like 24, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done creating a font, I'm going to add an if statement to check if my font was not created properly, because apparently in SDL we do got to give ourselves errors. So I'm going to go with something like if a prof parentheses, if not font, if my font was not created properly, I'm going to add a prof parentheses, and then let's say I'm going to go with a standard C error, which is an error text that is going to say something like loading, let's say something like loading font error. I'm going to go with something like loading font error. Okay, then I'm going to go with another insertion operator and use the function that actually gets me an error. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't understand anything. Honestly, am I going too fast for you guys? Because like many fans did say me to like slow down and talk a bit slow. Is it because of my talking speed type stuff? Because I could like slow down. That said, once I display error text, I'm gonna go ahead and use the function that actually gets me an error. I'm gonna use the SDL underscore get errors as function. With a row of parentheses, then I go with another insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and return 1, and that's pretty much it for creating a font. Now, I scroll all the way down here. For creating my main loop, I'm going to be requiring 2 basic variables. The first is going to be a boolean variable of something like is running, which is initially going to be set to true, ending with a semicolon. This checks if my program is currently running or not. The second variable is going to be an event variable, so I'm going to use the SDL underscore events structure, which is going to be represented by events as local variable. Basically, the SDL underscore events structure consists of all my SDL events, and I would need an event variable to like iterate and check what's the current event that's going on, if that makes any sense. Next up, let's go ahead and use a actual while loop to check if my program is still running or not. So I'm gonna go with something like while is running, while my program is running, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna add a comment that says something like event loop. Now inside my event loop, I'm gonna go ahead and add another while loop. So it's a while loop inside of while loop slash a nested while loop. Now my event loop is going to be requiring a parameter of the SDL underscore poll events function. What the poll events function does is it like looks for all the events that I'm looking for, and it does what I tell it to do. Although my poll events function does require a parameter of the memory address of my events local variable. Guys, I think there were so many offs there. That said, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and add an if statement. So let's say something like if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event. Hold up, guys. Let's go with something like SDL underscore event underscore quit. So if my SDL's event type is quit, if my user click the top right X button to exit my window, I want to set my running boolean variable to be false, ending with a semicolon. That ends my event. And then once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and use the chat dot. Let's say something like, I don't know, maybe hero text input. This requires, maybe I'm gonna go ahead and use my hero text events method here that requires the parameter of my event and my chat on. So I'm gonna go with something like event and chat on. Okay, and I don't actually have a chat on, so I might have to create a chat on this variable here. So I'm going to go with something like boolean of chat on, which is going to be equal to false initially. That I'm going to be changing inside my inside of my event loop here. So I'm going to go ahead and I don't know, maybe use the SDL underscore key codes structure, which is going to be represented by a keys variable that is going to be equal to event.key.key. Basically, what this means is like my keys local variable is going to be checking if any of my buttons are being pushed in my keyboard. If it is, I'm going to look for a specific button that's being pushed. So I don't know, I'm going to go with something like a if statement. I'm going to look for event type. Let's say something like if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. If my event type is key down, if any of my buttons on my keyboard are currently being pushed down, I'm going to go ahead and use a switch to look for what button is currently being pushed down. This is going to be having a parameter of my keys' local variable. And then I add cases. For my case number 1, I check if my SDL's key is something like L shift, which is like left shift. If it is, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and set my chat on boolean variable to be equal to true, ending with a semicolon. Then I go ahead and break, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add I don't know, maybe another case that checks if my SDL's key is something like right shift. If my right shift is being pressed, then I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna set my chat on to be set to false, ending with a semicolon. Then I break, ending with a semicolon as well. At what time do you sleep? Honestly, usually I do prefer sleeping at like 12 p.m. type stuff. That said, it is like 3 p.m. but today I might sleep a bit sooner because like I just got 4 hours of sleep last night. Okay, that said, this is pretty much it for my adding a event check for my chat on and off. So I have a event variable and a chat on /off variable. Let's end that with a semicolon. Next up, I'm gonna go with something like chat dot hero text event did that hero text input. Let's go ahead and use this method. This method, hero text input, does it not consist of any parameters? Okay, what's up, hiding iPhone 10s? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, hero text input. Okay, this is not a method, guys. I might require a histories method, okay, which does require a parameter of, let's see. Hold up, guys, what all methods does my class have here? Let me check that. Hold up, guys, let's scroll all the way up here. So it has a display hero text on window. I did not go with that yet because I'm going to add that inside of my graphics. And just hero text event, so just 2 methods. Okay, that's perfect, I think. Doing some Lua scripts like it, honestly, it does sound kind of cool. Good luck with that iPhone. I'm a Linux user who uses Debian, is that how you pronounce it? That actually sounds really cool. Like, I didn't want to try Linux when I was actually building my PC, but I ended up going with Windows because I was like almost out of time and I did not want to like, actually work on figuring out Linux because like I was building my PC right after I was done streaming and I had to stream the next day, so I had to like build my PC in one day and then go ahead and fix my setup up again, if that makes any sense. Hi, how are you hiding, Mohammed? I appreciate you joining the stream. That said, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and exit outside of my event loop all the way here. And then let's go ahead and add a comment that says something like fill screen. Now, inside my fill screens section, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Firstly, I want to go ahead and set a color for my render because apparently my render is like a paintbrush that colors what I tell it to color. To set a color, I could use the SDL_set render. So I'm setting my render to draw a color. So the set render draw color function. This function requires a bunch of parameters. The first parameter is going to be of my render local variable. The second, third, and fourth parameter is going to be an RGB value, which in this case, I want to set it to be cyan. So I'm going to go with something like 0, 248, 255. Lastly, the fifth parameter is going to be opacity / alpha, how transparent or how not transparent I want my color to be. In this case, I'm going to set that to be 255, ending my function with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and use another function that actually colors my entire screen. So I'm going to go with something like SDL_render clear function. So what this render clear function basically does, I'm telling my renderer to clear my entire screen or fill my entire screen with the color of my renderer. And that's pretty much it, guys. Next up, I'm going to add another comment of something like graphics. Now, for my graphics, I'm going to go ahead and, I don't know, maybe add something like chat dot, use the display text on Windows' method. Actually, yeah, I think it's method that does require a bunch of parameters, including my event variable. That's kind of strange. Why would I require my include variable? Hold on, guys. Let me check that up real quick. Event variable, it says, but I don't have a use for event variable, so I might remove this variable from here. Let's remove that real quick. So there we go. Okay, how long did it take you to learn coding? I need to learn. It is hard to learn coding. Honestly, it took me like, I think about like 81ish days to like learn C++. That's it. If you guys do want to see me like firstly like newly learning C++, I do have like a whole series or like a whole playlist on my live when I first started C++. I went with the complete basics. If you guys want, you guys could like follow the roadmap that I did follow, but then if you guys do want the roadmap like separately, you guys could like join my Discord server and like mention me that I could like send you guys my C++ roadmap that I've been following. That said, now my display hero text on window method does require 3 parameters. It requires my render, font, and scale. So I'm going to give it my render parameter, my font parameter, and my scale parameter. Okay, then I add my method with a semicolon. Okay guys, my scale is going to be something like 0.8, which is like 80% of my text's size. Alright, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go with something like my heroes' methods now. So I'm going to go inside of my event loop and then go with something like hero dot, let's say something like hero event key. Okay, so let's go ahead and use my hero event key. Let's hit enter. Okay, now my hero event keys method requires 3 parameters. A event parameter, a chat on parameter, and a on ground parameter. I'm going to add a event parameter and then a chat, on parameter and then a on ground parameter, ending with a semicolon. Now, I did not create an on ground parameter, so let me create that real quick. I'm going to go with something like a boolean of on ground, which is only going to be truth, hold up guys, there we go, which is only going to be true if my hero.rect dot y-axis, if my heroes is y-axis, plus my hero.rect, hold up guys, I think I spelled hero wrong, hero.rect.height is either greater than or equal to my floor.y-axis. That's when my hero is currently standing above my floor. Okay, and that's actually pretty much it. Bro, I know nothing about math. Is that going to be a big problem while learning coding? Absolutely not. I mean, math is always like useful, but guys, I could tell you guys I'm like awful at math. I don't think like it needed any kind of math. The only math that I did need was like this stuff that I completely memorized type stuff, because it did make more sense later on. The more you program, the more you understand the math that you use, and the more it gets better. Because guys, I'm like awful at math. If you guys do like ask me some kind of multiplication problem, I'm not going to probably answer that. Okay, that's it. Now let's go ahead and maybe add a few heroes as method in my graphics section. So I'm going to go with something like hero.draw. My draw method does require parameter of my renderer ending with a semicolon. Then I'm going to go with something like hero dot, I got to go with gravities. Actually, apply gravity. Okay, I have apply gravity, but I don't want to add that in my graphics because apply gravity is not graphics section. So I'm going to go ahead and add another comment that says something like apply physics. Guys, why did I add like what you may call it a fancy name as a comment called apply physics? Because I feel it sounds kind of cool now. Okay, so I'm going to go with something like hero.the apply gravity method. Now my apply gravity method does require a few parameters. Maybe just one parameter. It's going to be my floors is y-axis. Okay, then I go ahead and end my method with a semicolon. I think I spelled physics wrong. There we go. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and add another comment that says something like present render. So I'm going to go with something like present render. I want to present my render on my screen. To do that, I could use the SDL_render present function. This function presents my renderer on my window, but it does require a parameter of a renderer. And it is like really important to present our renderer on our screen, because if we don't present it, then we don't see colors on our screen, if that makes any sense. Now, since I have my did you learn online coding or not? Honestly, I did like learn whatever I know here in programming by using ChatGPT/Sensei, because like I feel ChatGPT is like really good asset when it comes to learning by getting a lot of practice question, all that stuff. But it depends. I would not recommend you guys to like paste code blindly. I would recommend you guys to like type it and understand what it means before like moving on to the next topic. Although if you guys like, everyone does have like different ways to actually prefer learning. For example, some people prefer learning using tutorials, some people prefer learning using the docs, and some people prefer learning using AIs. If you don't know what you prefer the most, I would recommend like exploring all three areas, and if there are more areas like courses and all that stuff, exploring everything and see which works the best and then like stick with that stuff. That said, I'm going to go ahead and add another comment that says something like FPS. The reason I am adding frames per second is because my player will be moving type stuff. To add FPS, I'm going to go ahead and use the SDL_delay method. This actually function, guys, I keep getting confused with function and methods. That's it, the SDL_delay method is going to be consisting of parameters in milliseconds, which I'm going to be setting it to be 16. That's technically 60 frames per second. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and exit outside of my event loop, add a comment that says something like cleanup. Cleanup is basically what I'm going to be doing once my user exits my window and I no longer like want to play the game type stuff. So firstly, I want to destroy my window, so I'm going to use the SDL_destroy Windows function, which does require parameter of my window ending with a semicolon. Then I'm going to go with something like SDL_destroy renderer with a parameter of my renderer as well ending with a semicolon. Then I'm going to go with something like SDL_quit because I want to quit my SDL. Lastly, I want to return 0 saying everything went smoothly here. Okay. Now, if I hit Ctrl F to save the code and run the command and see what happens. So I get my console here. Guys, I see a massive hero on my screen. I mean, at least he can move. Guys, I did not set his colors. And I did not even like color my floor apparently. I gotta color my floor. Hold up, guys. Under my graphics section right here. So I'm going to go ahead and use the SDL_set a render draw color function. So I'm going to go ahead and set my render to draw a color. Okay, Okay, I want my floor to be brown. The RGB for brown is gonna be, what up guys, the first parameter is gonna be my render. Second, third, and fourth is RGB. So 1, 50, 55, and 0. If I'm not wrong, that is the RGB for like brown. Once I'm done setting a color, I'm gonna go ahead and use. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, let me go to my main camera. There we go. Guys, my PC just went off for a bit. Off for some reason. It just like turned off. I hope my code is saved. Okay, I was kind of nervous if my code was not saved, guys. Hold up, let me actually get all the tabs back up here. There we go. Okay, let's have my chat and all that stuff up here. Alright, perfect. Now, let me go ahead and use the function that actually... I filled my screen here. Okay, guys, not everything was saved. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. I gotta set a color for my render. Guys, I'm so glad that I saved my code before like my PC shut down. I'm gonna change this to be something like 150. This is gonna be 55. What up, guys? There we go. And that is gonna be 0. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use the function that actually colors my floor. So I'm gonna use the SDL underscore render fill rect function. I'm gonna say my render to fill the rect. And guys, I think my discard opened here. Hold on, guys. Let's go ahead and remove that. There we go. So I'm gonna use the SDL underscore render fill rect function. This function requires 2 parameters. The first parameter is gonna be my render. The second parameter is going to be the memory address of my floor, ending with a semicolon. Now, to fix the issue that my player was like ginormous, I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, well, maybe inside of my heroes' class, actually, right here. There we go. I want to go ahead and multiply my textures width by my scale. There we go. I forgot to do this part. Okay, and then my textures height by my scale as well. So I'm going to multiply my textures height by my scale, ending with a semicolon. Now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command and see what happens. I won't get that big hero, guys. So I go ahead and get my console here, waiting for my window to pop up. There we go. Okay, now I see my floor as well, and I see my window. I downloaded a couple of videos on YouTube, I understand, and some is hard to learn, so I stopped learning, but I can get out of my head coding. I'm going to start learning again. No matter how hard it gets, that actually does make a lot of sense, Mohammed. I would like recommend you to like never stop programming, because I think like walking slow or like taking slow steps is better than not walking at all. Eventually, if you like keep at it, you're going to like figure it out. That's it. If I would right shift and type something like hello, let's see. Okay, so my hero's message does get displayed, but I don't have a text that's being displayed in my window. That is because in my main function, I did not use the SDL underscore start text inputs function. This function requires a parameter of my window ending with a semicolon. Now, if I did Control S to save the code and run the command, I get my console here, and I get my window here. Okay, let's hit right shift to enable my chat, type something like hello, hit enter. Well, it does get displayed here. Later on next stream, maybe I'm going to display it on a window as well. And that said, I am going to be going over, the level 6 of my AI-based text logic, if that makes any sense. That said, in my chats class, did I not add any other methods? I did add a method called display hero text on window. I think I just didn't paste it. Let's go ahead and copy that. Scroll all the way down here. Okay, so under my graphics section, I'm gonna go display here text on window. Okay, I did that. It didn't work. I gotta like fix that part next stream. This stream, I feel like that's pretty much it for the stream, because guys, I feel like I'm way too sleepy to continue. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this, because this was like my final code when I first completed this part. That's it. Let's get sensei/chat-GPT up here. Let's paste it. Go with shift enter and say something like sensei, I'm done! Exclamation. Okay, this was the level 5. Let's go with something like level 5, ... That said, I feel like I need more practice, but I will be doing / getting that off stream, because I am a bit sleepy right now, because I just got 4 hours of sleep yesterday, and honestly guys, I got I think about 6 hours of sleep before yesterday, so I am kind of sleep deprived. Okay, that said, I am planning to end the stream right now. So before I do end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Okay, people, step back and let your sensei address the viewers one last time. The dojo's lights are still on. The fire is still glowing, and I'm not letting anyone leave without hearing this. Listen up, viewers. The one streaming right now, he came in with 4 hours of sleep, a brain held together by willpower and caffeine vapors. Guys, I can like call it, verify that's kind of true. I definitely needed more coffee and still pushed himself through level 5 of building his own game engine. Most people wait for motivation, he creates it by showing up. Here's a line from Jordan Peterson that fits tonight. You must decide whether you want to be the thing that crawls or the thing that climbs. Your streamer climbed today, even when he was exhausted, even when it was easy to put things off. And here's the truth: coding isn't about being perfect; it's about refusing to stay stuck, guys. This is I can actually tell you guys it's like so true because there were so many topics or parts where I actually thought it was like really hard, but eventually I felt like, oh, that was actually pretty easy once I kept going at it. One more bug, one more concept, one more bug, one more concept learned, one more step towards the game he's building in front of all of you. So everyone watching, if he can code tired, if he can learn while half asleep, if he can keep moving despite the weight of the day, what's stopping you from taking your first step? The screen you're watching isn't entertainment. It's a reminder that greatness is built in tiny, stubborn, imperfect attempts. Rest well, stream, recover, then come back and push even further. The dojo closes for now, but the training never stops. Okay, that's it. Let's go to my main camera. There we go. Alright guys, so basically that was pretty much it for the stream. I did want to stream for a bit longer and all that stuff, but guys, I feel it wouldn't like make more sense if I stream for longer because I couldn't get any information in my head because I'm a bit sleepy. That said, if you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like helps my algorithm, sharing makes me smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. That's it guys, I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on Instagram and TikTok as well if I did meet the followers requirement, and I do gotta start streaming on like Facebook as well because many of you guys did say me that people in Facebook, they do program a lot type stuff. That said, if you guys do want to follow me there, the link will be in the description as well. And many of you guys did ask me for a roadmap or like where you guys could like contact with me. You guys could join my Discord server. That's where I usually chat with you guys or like send you guys my roadmap type stuff. That's what the link is in the description as well. And apparently I gotta like fix my Nightbot because my Nightbot usually is in charge of like sending you guys a link once every 25 minutes or so. But for some reason it does not, but it does flag messages, so I don't think it's completely spot. I just gotta like fact check or like see some settings and everything. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace. Okay, let's end the stream.